It all started with a worrying and underhyped information from Denmark. Here, almost all breeding animals are fed with GM soy. For a few years, pig farming has been facing a disease with unknown causes. Violent diarrhea, often causing death. Danish farmers call it the yellow death.
This is quite remarkable. They have been in here for 5 weeks and nobody died.
Nobody died, and it's unusual.
It's unusual just here, but it could be tomorrow I get one. I have some, see this diarrhea here? There's a little bit here. There's one pig standing there with on the legs. That you need to watch.
Pedersen is a breeding technician. His animals' feed is computer managed for each and every one of them. Like all Danish farmers, Pedersen used GM soy flour for a long time.
I think the first boat would have come in '96. When we started, it was not all GM, maybe 20% GM in the soy mix. And then it got gradually more and more, and by 2001 too, you would have had 90%.
Like all farmers, Pedersen had to face frequent diarrhea outbursts. One day, he decided to stop feeding GM soy to his pigs.
Back to normal.
Just to see how it would work.
Just to see what was happening. And then pay attention if some different thing came up. Well, I didn't tell my herdsman. And 2 days after, he came, the herdsman. Have you changed the food? I said, yeah. Is it bad? No, not this time. And he said, well, look, I have no diarrhea. There's no diarrhea here. And he has used 100 milliliter antibiotic a day to cure diarrhea that we had massive problems with. Up to 30% piglets die when it was really severe. And the funny thing is, and the good thing is, we had 3 years on non-GM. We have not seen this sickness again.
By himself, Pedersen managed to cast doubt in the Kingdom of Denmark. What if something in the transgenic soy was responsible for these digestive diseases?
It was a very big mystery because I have dry up cattle all my life. So.
They were just giving up, like they just want to die. And I have a movie here. So this black cow.
And those cows are not alive anymore, right?
No. I think we took these pictures just before we put them down. You look this big.
That's very bad,
I always linked this outbreak of diarrhea in multiple herds with that it's a ship of soya that come from one part of Argentina. And then when that is fed to a lot of farmers, they all have diarrhea in their herd.
What's hidden in the ship's holds? Theoretically, legal maximum rates of chemicals are monitored. Could it be something else? Soy comes from Argentina's plains. Transgenic agriculture turned the landscape into a giant Excel sheet. 22 million hectares of GMs have changed the face of the country. Most transgenic seeds come from US companies. GM soy doesn't require farm workers anymore. As GMOs are gaining ground, villages are being deserted. We went to Chaco, the last transgenic border. Surrounded by GM fields, there's Aviaterai village. A little girl is getting ready for school. The skin of her arms show a strange genetic defect.
¿Y tu hija nació así?
Sí, ella es de nacimiento.
¿Y se sabe, se hizo estudios para saber lo que es el problema?
Y le hicieron muchos estudios ya. Le falta uno solo que la tenemos que llevar a Buenos Aires. Y supuestamente ahí me van a dar el diagnóstico final.
Nadia is 12 years old. She lives a few meters away. Since the age of 2, she suffers from a degenerative disease.
¿Le gusta? ¿De coqueta? Mira más chiquitito.
She's slowly waning, with her family watching. Her parents don't know what her disease is.
Sí, yo me fui a Buenos Aires y bueno, todo. Estudian ellos, le estudian a ella y no se puede hacer mucho con ella, ¿no?
¿Saben por qué ocurrió eso? ¿Qué dijeron?
Sí, a mí me supieron decir genético lo de ella, como que ella iba a ser así y se complicó mucho también por el tema de eso, de que me decían de las fumigaciones.
Sí. Los médicos te dijeron que probablemente las fumigaciones tenían
también.
una causa.
Tenía mucho que ver también con el problema de ella. Mucho. Y acá en el pueblo hay mucho. En el pueblo hay mucho. Muchos chicos con muchas dificultades, vas a ver. Sí, lamentablemente decía eso, pero hay que hacer conocer que hay muchos chicos. Te sentís mal porque, bueno, no esperaba eso, no pensaba. Vos pensás lo mejor para ellos, pero qué sé yo, no sé. Si enojarte con el destino o no sé, ¿viste? Pero malo. Yo pasé muchísimas cosas, muchas cosas malas con ella. Sí, llega un día que te cansás, qué sé yo, que querés dejar. Muchas veces yo quise esconder a mi hija, pero no vi que no es así. Pero bueno, hasta que Dios diga, hasta ahí seguiremos, no bajaremos los brazos.
The villagers live in the fear of a tractor. It either spreads water or Roundup, Monsanto's glyphosate. They call it the poison.
Luego cuando te levantaste, escuchaste el tractor, porque el tractor ya anda sembrando, ya anda curando, tirando el veneno, así que nadie sabe nada. Entonces nosotros lo único que yo trato de hacer es llevar a mis hijos adentro y listo.
Here's a tractor filling up its tanks near the well. Is it water or pesticides? Regarding chemicals, the law is clear. Spreading is prohibited within a 1.5-kilometer distance from houses.
Piensas que se fueron cerca, ¿no?
Y van a la casa. No se dieron cuenta por eso.
The tractor came from this GM soy field. The field is guarded. The situation is tense, so we are recording with a hidden camera.
Buenas tardes, señor. Somos de Francia.
¿Por qué quieren hacer usted?
Estamos haciendo un trabajo sobre la soja porque los animales en Francia se comen la soja de Argentina. Somos filmadores, periodistas.
Como quieran. Entren si quieren.
Ok.
Entren para allá, no sé, como quieran.
Ok, muy bien.
Fíjense, no sé el estudio que hacen ustedes, ¿verdad? Sí, no hay problema.
Ok.
The village is 200 meters away. This is where the tractor was. Hidden in soy plants, there's half a dozen chemical cans. An herbicide, glyphosate, without which GM soy cannot exist. This is how it works. A GM field is not being plowed. No one's taking the weeds out. Everything is growing at the same time. Weeds can suffocate soy. This is when glyphosate comes in. This herbicide kills everything. Everything but GM soy. Why? Because the soy has been modified to resist. It's become herbicide-proofed.
Muchas malezas, ¿no? Que crecen.
Casi, en Chaco es así.
Hay muchas malezas.
Mucha maleza y que cura.
¿Cómo lo arreglo, la maleza?
Sí, se cura con veneno.
Se cura con veneno.
Randa, ese que le dicen.
Roundup.
Ajá, para matar yuyo. Acá poco se lo utiliza para los animales.
¿Sí?
Sí.
Se lo exporta, ¿no?
Sí, porque vos sabés que vos a la gallina le das las hojas y el huevo no puedes comer.
El huevo no puede comer.
Hediondo. Una cosa que no lo vas a comer.
¿Por qué?
Hediondo tiene un olor feo.
Tiene un olor feo.
Sí.
La gallina que come esta soya...
No vas a comer el huevo.
Porque el olor es malo.
Sí.
¿Es tratado, es curado este campo? Hacia el barrio allí?
Ajá.
Ok.
A ese barrio malandro que han puesto ahí.
¿Malandro? ¿Por qué?
Te roban lo que no tenés, ¿eh?
Ah.
Tazos, malandros metió ahí.
Ay, sí, no sabía.
Porquerías son. Malandras de mierda, unas villas esas.
El año pasado hubo una reunión en el SIC, que supuestamente vinieron, estaban todos los de la fumigación de muchos pueblos, digamos, incluso el nuestro. Pues yo estuve en la reunión esa vuelta porque justo ese era el tema de mi nena con la doctora y ellos me llevaron. Yo estuve en la reunión. Y bueno, le podía hacer una pregunta a los dueños porque ellos se ofendían, se enojaban, se realteraban, digamos que no podías conversar con ellos.
¿Con el mosquito puedes?
Con mosquitos, sí.
Puedes acercarte al máximo.
O sea, al máximo, sí. Igual con tanque, con tractor, ¿viste? Lo máximo.
Lo máximo.
Sí. Dice que el veneno que mata a la gente. ¿Qué mierda? Si no tomas, no vas a morir. Sí, son ocurrencias los ingenieros, qué sé yo, ¿viste?
GM soy is removing people out of the land. They've become useless, almost annoying.
Son cosas que nos toca, decía, a cada familia, ¿no? Es algo que nosotros estamos contaminados con los herbicidas.
Claro,
pues,
como decía el doctor, yo estar embarazada, todo lo que yo...
Pero viste que esos señores son millonarios, ¿qué le puede hacer? Una multa te van a pagar para el rato y van a seguir haciendo lo mismo.
In 15 years of transgenic agriculture in Argentina, there were only 3 convictions for illegal fumigations. Avia Terai's case is far from being unique. To such an extent that the government had to discreetly subsidize assistance centers for the disabled. There are 4 of them in the nearest city, Sáenz Peña.
Ninguno de aquí tiene la marcha adquirida, ninguno. La mayoría son pacientes de las zonas rurales de la provincia, todas expuestas a los agrotóxicos, sin duda, sin duda.
nosotros estamos mandando nuestra semilla están comiendo, o los animales que ustedes consumen, comen el alimento que nosotros desde acá le mandamos. Es así de sencillo. Es una cadena, pero quienes recibimos el mayor impacto justamente somos nosotros.
As they were seeing more and more sick kids, 300 Argentinian doctors created a whistleblower network. Maria Cerezo, a rather conservative pediatrician, ended up becoming an activist of this network.
Yo no sé hasta qué punto tienen idea de la entrega que están generando. Si la tuvieran, yo creo que no lo harían. Se me ocurre a mí que es muy grave esto, porque esto es un genocidio. Esto es un genocidio, porque ellos nacen así.
Es una palabra muy fuerte, ¿eh? Genocidio.
Sí, pero muchos se mueren. ¿Cuánta población se está muriendo antes de su momento con enfermedades que son muy agresivas de muy mala manera, digamos, sufriendo mucho?
Eduardo, the director of the center, is a bit more cautious.
Capacidad siempre hubo. Es muy difícil predecir que hay más que antes. Hay más que antes. Pero también antes se estilaba mucho probablemente no mostrar, ocultar.
Se duplicaron la cantidad de escuelas especiales y a su vez las escuelas especiales tienen anexos, o sea, una escuela madre, una escuela centro, con anexos a distintos pueblitos muchos más pequeños, digamos.
For 2 years, images of this strange deformed children epidemic have started to appear on the internet. This is where Pedersen, the Danish farmer, saw them.
When I check the pigs, one of the things. Then I had deformed pigs in the past, when we had one with 2 heads, or elephant man heads, or the girl and a boy same time. I, like any other farmer, had got more or less accustomed to that we had deformities. So it was not new to me. Back legs, not much use. And it's like you'd think you should have longer legs. You can't really make them reach the floor. When this, down in Argentina, when they had these deformed children, is that the same deformity? It looks like the same I have with my pigs.
In Argentina, the government is supporting transgenic agriculture. It denied the existence of this epidemic for a long time. Today, denial is no longer an option. But at the Ministry for Science, they rather mention an accident.
Hay una correlación bastante clara con el avance de la frontera agrícola, eso está claro, y probablemente tiene que ver con el uso de agroquímicos. Lo que pasa es que no sabemos ni cómo los aplican, generalmente, digamos, lo aplican en forma muy indiscriminada, la población está muy expuesta a esto, y por otro lado no sabemos qué combinaciones de químicos son.
Combinations of chemicals. We never heard of that before. Transgenic firms have always guaranteed that you didn't need anything else but glyphosate to weed the fields. As confessed by the Ministry for Science, farmers are adding unknown substances out of any control. What are those chemicals? Near a cornfield, there's a spreading tractor. No one around. On the tractor, we find glyphosate produced by Monsanto. Nothing surprising, but we also find 2 other chemicals. Atrazine, which is forbidden in Europe. According to an American study, atrazine turns male frogs into female frogs. There's also 2.4-D, one of the 2 components of Agent Orange, a military herbicide. To find enemies hidden in the forest during the Vietnam War, the American army had been weeding the forests. Very efficient, except for the people who were underneath. Thousands of deformed children were born in the following years. Today, American health authorities assert that 2.4-D was the least dangerous component of Agent Orange. Dow Chemical is selling it all across Argentina. These products are toxic. They seep through subsoil water. The transgenic promise was a world with less and less chemicals. What's happening is the very opposite. What's going on? Governmental agronomists encouraged farmers to massively shift to GM crops. And now they are facing mutant enemies.
Todo lo verde que se ve en este campo es maleza.
Es maleza. ¿Qué pasó? Al sembrar 30 millones de hectáreas de soja, casi toda resistente a glifosato, y el productor al aplicar 3 o 4 veces glifosato por año en ese lote, hoy aparecen las malezas que resisten o toleran el glifosato.
Entonces tienes que siempre
estamos claro. Lo que hacemos es mezclar distintos ingredientes activos como para que la maleza no llegue a tolerar el herbicida. Al ir mezclando los ingredientes, impedimos que logre esa tolerancia.
Hacen cóctel de...
Exacto.
Exactamente.
It seems transgenic firms got it all wrong. They promised ever less chemicals. What happens is the contrary. Glyphosate is no longer enough to control weeds. Now, 3, 4, or 5 other chemicals need to be added. Next generation seeds will be designed to resist even more toxic combinations. That wasn't quite the plan.
También se puede hacer una pregunta, es que los herbicidas están todos estudiados en términos de peligros, ¿no?
Sí, sí.
Uno por uno. ¿Pero están estudiados los cócteles?
No. Generalmente no.
Entonces puede haber este riesgo.
Pero no creo en ese aspecto. Si los productos no son productores de cáncer, teratogénico y esas cosas, el hecho de mezclar 2 o 3 productos distintos no creo que vaya a producir un producto cancerígeno.
Pero no estás seguro.
No estoy seguro. Es difícil que ocurra eso, pero puede ser. Pero no sé, yo no sé, no se conoce eso. A ese nivel, muy difícil.
Governmental agronomists are helpless. It's not going the way it was supposed to. Maybe they feel responsible. Argentinian farmers relied on them. Themselves, they put their trust in Monsanto.
Las compañías agroquímicas nos ayudan muchísimo.
Monsanto, Dow Chemical.
Sí, pero el ingrediente activo se trae del producto. ¿Es así, Sergio?
¿Qué necesitabas para conservar los recursos?
Monsanto declined answering our questions, neither in front of a camera nor in writing. However, every night, Argentinian TV broadcasts reassuring Monsanto ads. They guarantee that Roundup, their glyphosate-based herbicide, is very efficient.
30 años de Roundup, 30 años de seguridad que se ve en tu campo.
Nothing proves that transgenic agriculture is responsible for the diseases observed in Argentina, but nothing proves the contrary either, and the government hasn't tried to figure it out.
On n'a pas testé la dangerosité de tous ces produits chimiques mis ensemble. Est-ce qu'ils ont des interactions? Est-ce qu'ils développent des dangers qu'on ne connaissait pas?
Bueno, eso habrá que verlo combinación por combinación y evidentemente hay que estudiarlo.
Mais alors moi, ce qui me surprend beaucoup, si vous voulez, c'est qu'on a investi beaucoup de recherche et de sciences dans l'élaboration de semences transgéniques qui fonctionnent. Et on a investi 0 recherche et sciences pour comprendre ce qui se passait dans ces villages.
Sin duda.
Ils font rien, le ministère de Santé publique?
No lo sé, digamos, es un tema que habría que consultar con ellos qué es lo que hacen frente a estos reportes, digamos, ¿no?
The Argentinian Ministry for Health hasn't done anything. The only health study on the transgenic agriculture's impact was conducted by professors in medicine from Rosario University by their own means. Each year, they mobilize 1,700 students to interview 90,000 people, a huge survey. Students wear easy-to-spot orange t-shirts and settle in the surrounding villages. They sleep in gym facilities and interview the whole population on their medical conditions.
Hogar por hogar, viviendo en ese domicilio que estamos entrevistando, ¿alguien fue diagnosticado de cáncer? Esa es la pregunta. Si la respuesta es sí, ¿quién y en qué año? ¿Y de qué tipo de cáncer? Pensando que nos encontraríamos con hipertensión, con diabetes, que son los problemas de salud más frecuentes en nuestro país según las estadísticas oficiales. Claramente nos sorprendimos cuando recibimos estos datos. Algo está ocurriendo en nuestro ambiente que está perjudicando la salud.
Cancer rates increase spectacularly.
Acá tenés 40% más, 250 veces. El porcentaje, 250% más. Cuando volvemos a Rosario y empezamos a ver que tenemos estas cosas en común, que están, digamos, todas están rodeadas del área de producción agroindustrial de soja transgénica dependiente de agrotóxicos. Todas han cambiado, digamos, y han incrementado su área de producción. Todas llegan con la línea de fumigación hasta el borde mismo del pueblo.
Argentina's economy can probably no longer do without GM agriculture. The president herself welcomed it enthusiastically.
La verdad que se los quiero mostrar porque estoy muy orgullosa del prospecto de Monsanto. Cuando hacen prospecto es porque ya está hecho la inversión, si no, no te hacen prospecto.
Combien d'argent ça a rapporté à l'Argentine la culture du soja depuis 15 ans?
Bueno, entre 1996, que es la fecha de la primera introducción transgénica, y 2011, el cálculo que hay es en total de unos 65.000 millones de dólares. Todo eso produce beneficios para el Estado y en buena parte de las recuperaciones milagrosas de la Argentina después de las crisis económicas es por ese ingreso de divisa.
A ver, ahí está, ¿viste?
En fait, c'est le coût humain du miracle argentin. C'est en fait les victimes du miracle argentin.
Sí, siempre hay víctimas, desgraciadamente, digamos. Todos los procesos de este tipo son muy difíciles de controlar en todos los aspectos.
Porque Monsanto es veneno, Monsanto es corrupción. ¡Chao Monsanto! ¡Chao Monsanto!
15 years after GMO's massive arrival in Argentina, public distrust focused on Monsanto is ever stronger. And it's no longer just among a few lefties. Protesters march under the portrait of the other great exportation product of Argentina, Ernesto Che Guevara. Like their hero, they see the hand of America's empire everywhere, even behind GM soy. Always ready to point at conspiracy theories, but this time they happen not to be wrong. In 2012 in London, WikiLeaks fed upon their fear by disclosing once again secret documents from the American government.
The first casualty of war is the truth.
This time they published 250,000 messages from US embassies all around the world, a view behind the scene of the latest superpower. According to the documents, American diplomacy is unexpectedly interested in GM soy or corn. It actually goes further. US embassies literally turned into salesmen for transgenic firms, taking care of all the details. In Buenos Aires in 2008, the US embassy is like a travel agency. The ambassador himself placed the charming warm-up guy amongst half a dozen Argentinian journalists before their travel to Monsanto's headquarters, all expenses covered. The American government declined discussing with us their strange mingling with the transgenic industry, but we found a precious video. The guy who's going to speak in front of students is Mr. GMOs in the government. And he says it all.
Now, I come from the Department of State, and usually people are like, why is the Department of State here? I thought we were getting agriculture, right? And I say, well, you know, the State Department, we care about food and agriculture too. Clearly, food is a food security issue, and I think we all know that, and it's an important one. But it's also an economic security issue, it's an energy security issue, and as we learned in 2008 with the food price riots, it's also a national security issue.
So if we get it straight, transgenic agriculture is like weapons or oil, a power asset.
The future of America is secure.
In the Great Transgenic World War, the most resistant country against US pressure is France. Some farmers are showing huge resistance, and they won the public support.
Il est hors de question qu'on prenne le champ du paysan pour la paillasse d'un laboratoire.
GMOs are forbidden in France, so the US Embassy is launching a discreet counterstrike. In 2007, Ambassador Craig Stapleton arranges a secret meeting in Paris, gathering US transgenic firms and a mysterious French farmer. They want to have the French government approve GMOs. Here's an idea. How about boycotting French champagne? Carried away, the ambassador writes to his close friend, President Bush, telling him, let's retaliate. If they don't want our GMOs, let's put a ban on their champagne. Bush will leave it there. Something remains unclear. Who was the French farmer attending the meeting at the US Embassy? He's very likely to be a corn producer. They have been struggling to get the right to plant GMOs, from which they expect a 10% rise on their yields. We go to one of their meetings. Their leader encourages them to aggressively lobby French politicians.
Et quand vous avez un sénateur qui vous dit « Oh, sur cette loi sur les OGM, non, mais bon, moi je vais m'abstenir parce que je ne comprends pas grand-chose. » Donc, il faut leur faire comprendre à nos politiques que je crois que ce que l'on fait, nous, les responsables, à passer un week-end à emmerder les politiques, il faut que chacun d'entre nous, on le fasse chez soi.
Maybe Christophe Terrain knows more about the secret meeting? Bingo. He was the mysterious guest.
Moi, j'ai eu l'occasion de croiser des producteurs américains qui étaient venus à l'ambassade.
Quel était leur état d'esprit à ces gens-là?
Ces gens-là qui disent « Vous êtes dans un pays bizarre ». Voilà, c'est leur premier réflexe, parce que pour eux, il n'y a même pas de débat sur le sujet.
On parle de frapper le champagne parce qu'il n'y a pas d'OGM sur le territoire.
En général, quand vous croisez un Américain, vous avez toujours cette allusion-là à la représentation commerciale dans laquelle il y a toujours le champagne, il y a toujours le roquefort, quoi. Donc, et c'est vrai qu'il n'est pas impossible que dans les discussions que l'on peut avoir à ce moment-là, on ait évoqué ces sujets-là.
Vous n'avez pas eu l'impression que vous étiez dans un épisode de la guerre économique entre l'Amérique et l'Europe?
Non, je n'ai pas eu ce sentiment-là, non, vous savez, bon...
Quand vous rencontrez les Américains, c'est leur idée à eux? Ils ont repéré que vous étiez favorable aux OGM et ils vous invitent, ou bien c'est vous qui...
Ah non, c'est plutôt nous qui sommes en recherche, je dirais, de référence et éventuellement de compréhension.
Today, Christophe Terrain is determined to win and impose GMOs. This man is the French Minister for Agriculture. His official statement is no GM cultivation in France.
Franchement et honnêtement, et on fera tout pour améliorer les choses. C'est l'enjeu. L'administration n'en rajoute pas. Ce n'est pas la peine d'hurler. Nous refusons la mise en culture des OGM. S'en va-t-il? Mais est-ce que vous pouvez d'arrêter?
Non, mais c'est du n'importe quoi.
Non, je vais finir et après je vous laisserai et vous pourrez faire ce que vous avez envie de faire. J'en ai conscience. C'est pourquoi le contrat que je souhaite passer avec vous, c'est un contrat de confiance. Merci.
This farmer meeting is turning into just another episode of low-intensity war. A war aimed at imposing GMOs on the whole planet. This war is not waged by soldiers, but by influence peddlers. How do they look like? There are many of them in Brussels, where the European Parliament is located. They make laws. So this is where the transgenic industry settled its lobby, Europa Bio. Europa Bio serves Monsanto, Syngenta, DuPont, well, all GM big names. Today, Europa Bio is hosting an event in a hotel. The subject, biotechnology can put an end to hunger in the third world. Our camera is tolerated, but only in the corridors. Among the transgenic warriors, Patrick Moore is certainly the fiercest. He markets himself as former member of Greenpeace and an ecologist.
Hello, I'm Patrick Moore. I was one of the co-founders in Greenpeace back in the early 1970s while I was doing my PhD in ecology. I've been an independent environmentalist for the last 25 years, and now I'm leading the campaign to allow golden rice now.
Patrick Moore left Greenpeace almost 30 years ago, reportedly on bad terms. Ever since, he has become one of Greenpeace's worst enemies. He's supporting the nuclear industry, mine industry, transgenic industry, and he also thinks global warming is great for the planet.
During the Ice Age, it is extremely likely that a warmer temperature than today's would be far better than a cooler one. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Patrick Moore is an event professional. On the GMOs chapter, he launched a campaign for golden rice. This experimental rice enriched in beta-carotene is the transgenic industry's answer to kids' vitamin A deficiency in the third world. According to Patrick Moore, criticizing golden rice makes you guilty of genocide.
With 2 million children dying each year where their parents are watching them die because they do not have vitamin A, golden rice is the cure. And yet Greenpeace continues to tell lies, saying it could have some health problem from golden rice. So they are lying, and they are causing death. And that is a crime against humanity.
Other VIPs are here this morning. The man with the red tie is the English Environment Minister, Owen Paterson. He's a die-hard defender of GMOs, but feels a little uncomfortable being filmed in an event financed by the transgenic industry. After 1 hour, we feel like intruders. We are going to be severely supervised.
Mais c'est une blague ou quoi? Je suis invité ici, j'ai l'accord du service de presse, je n'ai pas de caméra, j'ai le droit de me balader pour aller voir les intervenants.
Je demande tout simplement.
Et donc j'ai plus le droit de bouger maintenant?
Non, mais c'est juste parce qu'on peut pas filmer dans la salle.
Je sais bien, mais j'ai le droit de me déplacer comme n'importe quelle personne ici.
Oui, vous avez le droit de vous déplacer.
Ben, je sais pas, parce que non, à chaque fois que je bouge, il y a quelqu'un qui me demande où je vais. Mais est-ce que je suis en train de filmer? Je suis pas en train de filmer.
Non, mais allez-y, allez-y.
Mais je sais, mais il y a...
Allez-y, allez-y.
Bah, c'est gentil.
Our video camera starts triggering strange behaviors, like having a security guard talking to his watch. The room is filled with transgenic industry executives who want to freely discuss their strategy. No cameras. Debates take place behind closed doors. But with a sharp ear and a good microphone, we can hear the speeches. Here's the pro-GMO British minister speaking about golden rice.
The time is now right to see if we can break this 15-year deadlock on GM cultivation authorisations.
On the golden rice, I mean, I do think this is the absolute Manichaean issue. Someone is going to get over the fault and lose this one, and then the dam will be broken. And I just find it completely extraordinary that rational human beings can oppose a technology which could stop a small child going blind every second. But I do think the golden rice battle is absolutely fundamental.
Suddenly borders are blurred. Is the minister a public officer, or is he a GM industry lobbyist? Since this meeting, he was fired from the British government, with no official reason. Are all these people here for the third world kids, or for their company's interests? This smart lady is Monsanto's representative for Europe.
Please, I've got two questions. Seriously. On peut parler français en plus.
Non, je suis vraiment désolée.
S'il vous plaît.
Il y en a pour 2 minutes.
Je sais. Mais comme vous le disiez, il faut amener le message aux citoyens.
She runs away as soon as she sees our camera, as usual. GM lobbyists invite us to rather interview the great defender of GM golden rice, Patrick Moore, who's accusing Greenpeace of crime against humanity. Right before the interview, I find out on the website of the institution that is developing golden rice that it is not ready yet and still has to be evaluated. So Greenpeace has nothing to do with the pending. Is Patrick Moore trying to manipulate us?
Right now, is the research about golden rice stopped?
The research on golden rice has been given a big boost by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation.
So it's going on?
It's going on.
So nothing is stopped?
Yes, it's stopped that golden rice is not allowed to come into commercial use, so no one can eat it.
But correct me if I'm wrong, but the institution that is working on research on golden rice said they needed a couple of years more to be able to commercialize it.
No, they need a couple of years more to comply with the ridiculous regulations that have been put in place to stop it.
We wanted a comment from Patrick Moore about the situation in Argentina, the deformed children, unidentified pesticides cocktails being spread over transgenic fields. What did he think about it as a pro-GMO?
I believe it's a myth. I do not believe it for a second because I know the science. It's made up.
Okay. Because, okay, we went there in Argentina.
And you saw people who were sick?
We saw people who were sick.
In Argentina?
Yes.
You expect to see nobody sick in Argentina?
Look, this is from Rosario's hospital.
I know this paper.
You do?
It's a lie. I just say...
How can you say it's a lie?
Because it is a lie. Because it's making it up using false information. There is no way that glyphosate is linked to these cancers and things that these people are saying. It's not true. It is made up.
Made up. But you go...
This has nothing to do with what I'm doing. Nothing. Zero. I'm not even interested in it.
But you still go on the record saying something about it. You go on the record saying that it's a lie.
My understanding of it is that it's a fabricated lie.
Okay.
Yes. I do not believe that glyphosate in Argentina is causing increases in cancer. You can drink a whole quart of it and it won't hurt you. It's,
you want to drink some? We have some here.
I'd be happy to, actually, but not really, but...
Not really?
I know it wouldn't hurt me.
If you say so, I have some glyphosate.
No, I'm not stupid.
Ah, okay, so you...
No, but I know
so it's dangerous, right?
No, people try to commit suicide with it and fail fairly regularly.
Tell the truth.
It's not dangerous to humans. No, it's not.
So you're ready to drink one glass of glyphosate?
No, I'm not an idiot. Interview me about golden rice. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, then it's finished. Then the interview is finished.
That's a good way to solve things.
Yeah. You're a complete jerk.
For the transgenic lobby, Europa Bio, the priority is to put down the European regulation. They even did a cartoon to explain it.
In Europe, politicians decided to impose bureaucratic barriers to biotech. That means European farmers have had to wait, and wait, and wait, until new crops are approved to grow or to be imported, because the European approval system is slow and over-politicized.
The transgenic industry thinks Europe is overprotective, but this could come to an end with an upcoming trade agreement, the TAFTA. The treaty could align European health regulations with the ones of the US. Basically, the aim of the agreement is simple and common sense. For instance, did you know that it was hard to sell European cars in the US and vice versa because of norm differences? The size of headlights, handles, bumpers. Everything is strongly regulated and different from one country to another. Once the agreement is signed, pro-GM America and anti-GM Europe will share the same regulations. But the question is, whose rules are going to win?
C'est une espèce de guerre qui ne dit pas son nom, mais quand même une guerre moderne.
Si jamais le TAFTA passe, il est tout à fait évident qu'on ne pourra plus interdire les OGM. C'est fini.
Les Américains ont tout intérêt à faire tomber nos règles, de manière à augmenter leur part de marché. Nous sommes 500 millions de consommateurs, ils sont 350 millions. Nous avons un système de protection des consommateurs qui est infiniment meilleur et nous avons des règles de protection sanitaire, environnementale et sociale qui n'ont rien à voir avec les règles américaines. Le premier enjeu est donc le maintien de nos règles.
In Brussels, negotiations on the agreement are taking place behind closed doors. Sometimes negotiators come out to answer a few questions. There's an American and a European, both fluent in the language of big agreements. We asked a simple question on GMOs and got a complicated answer.
Notre législation de l'OGM n'est pas négociable. On peut discuter l'application concrète, mais toujours...
C'est-à-dire l'application concrète.
Qu'est-ce
que vous entendez? Parce que
non, mais je vais vous dire, c'est très simplement. Écoutez, les questions que nous avons toujours discutées, et avec les États-Unis, et avec le Canada, avec les pays tiers, c'est comment est-ce que les différentes applications progressent dans notre système réglementaire. C'est ça que nous avons toujours fait, ça c'est ce que nous continuons à faire.
So the regulation on GMOs is non-negotiable, except for its application. That seems to say the debate is on the table. Tomorrow's world will be ruled by a series of transatlantic agreements aiming at ensuring the free circulation of goods. Those treaties will prevail over national laws. Depending on how the negotiations go, it is possible that no one can oppose GMOs ever again. Not even a democratically elected government. The risk is to be sued by transgenic firms. Not in front of judges, but in front of very powerful trade arbitrators. Who are these new masters of the world? Very discreet people.
I feel overwhelmed by the responsibility. I think it's human. I mean, you have huge cases. Sometimes it is hundreds and thousands of millions of euros are at stake, or important policy issues.
Les multinationales ne veulent pas avoir affaire aux juges nationaux. Considèrent que c'est trop favorable aux États et aux consommateurs. Donc, il faut des tribunaux arbitraux qui, eux, seront favorables aux multinationales.
C'est quoi un tribunal arbitral?
C'est des arbitres qui sont désignés par les parties ou qui sont prédésignés selon un système qui est fixé à l'avance et qui jugent à la place des juges. Pour vous donner un exemple concret, Monsanto n'est pas content de la clause de sauvegarde mise en place par la France. Elle va devant le Conseil d'État. Le Conseil d'État, il juge ce qu'il a à juger avec le temps qui convient. S'il y avait un tribunal arbitral, la France pourrait être condamnée à des milliards d'euros ou des millions d'euros.
Le dommage et intérêt parce qu'on ne veut pas d'OGM.
Voilà, exactement. En disant, vous n'avez pas le droit de dire que vous ne voulez pas d'OGM.
But there's something wrong with some arbitrators. Daniel Price, for instance. Arbitrator today, he's close to George W. Bush and is a former Monsanto lobbyist. As shows his income statement, how can he be impartial?
Quand on regarde de près qui sont les arbitres, alors vous êtes un arbitre-arbitre, mais il y a des gens qui sont arbitres et avocats d'affaires. Arbitres et lobbyistes. Alors, comment on fait?
You have there touched on a sensible issue. And there I agree with you. I am only arbitrator. It is my job to be an arbitrator. And there's so much money and interest at risk that we should separate. That if you are, either you are an arbitrator or you are a lawyer. And that you cannot mix the two professions. And this is something, it will come.
Within 15 years, transgenic firms have won one battle after the other, regardless of citizens' reluctance. This world conquest happened quietly, with no image and no real scandal. At least, for now.